Hey crew, today we have the Abyssal Demon Warlock build, and just listen to this one line of lore from the Hated Nezarac. He is that which is end, that which covets sin, the final god of pain, the purest light, the darkest hour, and he shall rise again. Now if that is not an Abyssal Demon, then I don't know what is, but I thought that was some pretty awesome information from the lore tab, and that's basically what this build is all about. It is about leeching energy and draining and suppressing everything that just feeds us all of our abilities over and over, on top of some amazing survivability and some strong weapons to send it over the top, and also modding it out. The gameplay you are watching is the legendary campaign, and this is where I have been testing all my builds since Witch Queen launched. We are capped 15 power level under here, and if something holds up pretty well here, that means it can do so in all other parts of the game, except maybe Grandmasters, because we are capped 25 under, I believe, there in a Grandmaster. So everything except Grandmasters, and of course we're going to test it in Grandmasters later this season. If you guys find this video helpful or enjoyable, then make sure to hit that subscribe button for me and become part of the crew here. We are closing in on 100k, and that would be such a huge milestone for me to hit. And for my regular crew, if you guys could let this video play out once until the end for me, that would be amazing of you, and thank you so much if you do so. I really appreciate it. Also, down in the comments, let me know what you guys would have named this build if you had to come up with the name yourself. I thought way too long and hard about it myself, and not even sure Abyssal Demon Warlock should have been it, but that's what I ended up coming up with. For our subclass here, of course, we're on Void 3.0, the Voidwalker. I'm using Nova Warp. I didn't even use my super in the gameplay because I wanted you guys to see how strong it is even without using a super. You definitely want to have Healing Rift on because that's going to tie into our aspect of Child of the Old Gods, so Healing Rift is a must here. And we also have Suppressor Grenade. This build is built around suppressing enemies also, and Suppressor Grenade. We're taking advantage of a few mods with that. So we've done everything with Axion Bolts and Vortex Grenades and stuff like that with Controverse Holds, and Nothing Manacles with Scatter Grenades. So now we're going with Suppressor Grenades, and I'll show you guys how strong Suppressor Grenades are, as you see in the gameplay of just taking enemies out of fights. For our aspects, we have Child of the Old Gods. This means when we place our Rift, we create that Void Soul. When you shoot an enemy, that Void Soul goes to the enemy and it weakens them. So use it on high health targets, and hopefully there's enemies around the high health target. But one, you're already weakening them, so you're getting a 15% debuff on them, which is just great. Plus, when a target is being drained, you are granted grenade and melee energy if you're running a Healing Rift, which we are. So we're getting our grenade back and melee energy back just by draining these enemies, okay? And then down here at the bottom, defeating a target who is being drained by your Void Soul grants class ability energy. So as long as we kill the enemies around it that's tethered, we also get class ability. So this is a very strong end game aspect, and I hope you guys realize that, how strong this thing can actually be when targets actually survive more than one hit, right? Now we also have Feed the Void, and this is defeat a target with a Void ability to activate Devour. While Devour is active, Final Blows restore health and extend Devour, and it also gives us grenade energy. So Devour is awesome. We're getting grenade back from this, but we're getting grenade back from Child of the Old Gods already. So we have a lot of different things feeding our grenade, and then that's our survivability. Devour is so strong. One kill means you instantly go to full health. That's all there is to it. For the fragments, we're using Echo of Domineering. After suppressing a target, you gain greatly increased mobility for a short duration, and your equipped weapon is reloaded from reserves. This also gives us a plus 10 discipline. Now the reason I chose this is because for the grenade launcher, what I would do is I would shoot off a grenade, right? A grenade wave, and then I would throw my grenade and I would suppress something, and it would automatically reload the grenade launcher again, and I could shoot it again and then throw another suppressor grenade, and you kind of chain it back and forth if you get it down right. So it's a really nice fragment here. We don't really take advantage of it that often, but we do get a plus 10 discipline, which is very nice. You could trade this out for Echo of Expulsion if you really wanted to, but your suppressor grenade isn't really there to kill the enemies, it's there to suppress the enemies. We have Echo of Undermining, of course, so when our suppression goes off, we weaken everything. We also have Echo of Persistence. Void buffs applied to you, which is Devour, have increased duration, so Devour can go up to 15 seconds. Then we also have Echo of Instability. Defeating targets with grenades grants volatile rounds to your Void weapons. Plus 10 strength from this as well, and so we get volatile rounds on our grenade launcher every time the suppressor grenade kills enemies. The suppressor grenade isn't meant to kill that enemies, but try to just land it at one person's feet. It'll suppress everything around it, but if you get it close to one enemy, it will kill that enemy because suppressor grenades are strong. They just need to be thrown properly. It's kind of hard to get used to it, but once you're used to it, it works amazing. Trust me. Now this is an Abyssal Demon Warlock if I've ever seen one, right? Looking pretty sweet. For our exotic weapon of choice, we're using Dead Messenger. This thing hits like a truck, very strong, and the perk down here is a one-shot handheld grenade launcher. Projectiles release a fan of 3 energy waves on contact with the ground. Instead of just the 1 energy wave, you're getting 3, and it spreads out in a fan and creates some great AoE damage. Now this thing can be set to solar, arc, or void, which is awesome, so it's going to work in a lot of seasons to come with a lot of different builds, and it's very strong. And then we also have a catalyst here, Turnabout. We get an overshield every time we break an enemy shield. Doesn't matter what type of shield it is, arc, void, solar. And we even get an overshield if we break the shield from a moth enemy that has the moth over their head. So a great survivability to add to awesome damage and to add to matching any type of element that we need to match, which is just great. Of course, it procs our fragment, right? The one where we echo of instability, defeating targets with grenades grants volatile rounds to your void weapons. So that thing always has volatile rounds on it, and we're just chaining volatile rounds with our suppressor grenade that we always have up, and we always have these abilities up as we already went over to begin with. Now for our helmet, we have NEZAREC'S Sin. The perk here is Abyssal Extractors. Void damage kills increase ability regen recharge rate. So any void damage kills, this comes for our suppressor grenade, this comes from our void buddy, this comes from our melee, and from our void secondary that we're using, Dead Messenger. And since this is a fan and such a great add clear weapon, we are proccing Abyssal Extractors all the time. So we're always getting ability energy from NEZAREC'S Sin, and this is feeding into all of our abilities and into our super. That's how we can get some quick uptime on our super. Now for our armor perks on the helmet, we're using Bountiful Wells. So every time we spawn a well, we're creating double those wells, depending on what mods we have on. We have Harmonic Siphon, so we can create orbs of power with our void weapons. I have a grenade launcher ammo finder instead of ashes to assets. If you're okay with ammo, you can put ashes to assets in here, which would give you even more uptime on your super. But I have grenade launcher ammo finder because we are using a special weapon, and I want to always have ammo for this thing. On my gauntlets, I'm using grenade kickstart, a grenade launcher reloader, and then elemental armaments, so our void weapon can spawn void wells. If you're okay without a grenade launcher loader, slot in another grenade kickstart, because 2 grenade kickstarts is really going to jumpstart your grenade, especially when you suppress something, and we'll get to that in a second on our next mods. On our chest piece here, we're going straight resistance, so we have a 40% resistance to solar and arc damage because of these 2 mods. Then we also have our 25% resistance to void damage, so we're resisting a bunch of different things. And then we also have Fawn of Might, so we get that 20% weapon boost on our Dead Messenger at all times. On our boots here, we have Elemental Ordnance, so we create wells with our grenades, we create wells with our weapons because we have armaments on, and we're doubling up those wells because of Bountiful Wells. We have reduced class ability cooldown each time you pick up an Orb of Power because I want to have that Void Soul up, my Void Buddy up all the time. And we have a Grenade Launcher Scavenger to pair with our Dead Messenger and Grenade Launcher Ammo Finder on the helmet. And then on the bond here, we have Energy Vampirism. Gain energy for your least charge ability when you suppress a target. When we throw that suppressor grenade, a couple things are happening. One, you have grenade kickstart kicking in. So you're instantly getting part of your grenade back because the suppressor takes a couple seconds to go off. So no matter what, grenade kickstart is kicking in. Second, you're getting energy vampirism when you suppress. This is like a good 30% chunk. So you're getting well over 50% of your grenade if you have double kickstart on and then energy vampirism on top of that. We have another elemental ordnance. So every time that our grenade kills something, we're spawning 3 void wells. We have overload grenades, so we can stun overload champions with those suppressor grenades. And we also have suppression mastery. Suppression effects you create have increased duration. As you saw in the opening 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes of going through that campaign, some of those knights were suppressed for a good, I'm talking like 15 seconds. Like, it just takes them out of the fight. And that's what's so strong about suppression grenades, and I don't think a lot of people realize that, is suppressor grenades take the enemy out of the fight. What does stasis do? Stasis takes the enemy out of the fight. That's what makes stasis so strong. In endgame content, suppressor grenades are going to be very, very strong. So I highly recommend checking them out. On Titan, suppressor grenades are absolutely awesome, right? There's a lot of different things you can do with them. And in endgame and Grandmasters, I think suppressor grenades are going to be the go-to because it just adds to survivability, but it's also proccing a lot of different things, right? It's proccing ability regen, it's still void, so if you get a kills, it's proccing volatile rounds, it's doing all that different stuff for us. So if you have any questions or concerns, leave them down in the comments for me. I will try to answer them for you. Also, if you guys are still watching this video, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. There'll be a couple videos up on screen. If you have not seen them, go give them a watch. There's some great builds. I know a lot of people missed the Solar Titan build, and it's absolutely awesome. And with Solar 3.0, it's going to be even better. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great rest of your day.